Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, an original Blade star, Stephen Dorff, blasts modern comic book films. They're making a bunch of money, but the movies suck. I mean, I'm guessing pun intended, considering Stephen Dorff played a vampire in the original Blade films. But anyway, let's get into this article by Spencer Backley and Bounding into Comics. In the opinion of original Blade stars Stephen Dorff, despite the odd exception, modern comic book movies are not just uninteresting, they're outright garbage. Dorff, who many may remember for his role as the villainous Deacon Frost in the original cinematic adaptation of Marvel's Blade, offered his criticisms of modern Hollywood Cape Machine during a recent interview with the Daily Beast centered around his upcoming sci-fi film or horror film, Divinity. Interesting. Making its premiere at this year's Sundance Film Festival, Divinity presents a world wherein a scientist, Sterling Pierce, Scott Bakula, has successfully managed to manufacture a drug, the titular Divinity, which bestows the users with a pseudo-immortality. Interesting. Disgusted with how a majority of the world is now choking addicted to Divinity, two brothers, Moises Arias and Jason Ganau, abduct Sterling's son Jackson, Dorff. Yeah, Dorff. Sorry. Got confused there for a moment. Who has now inherited his father's pharmaceutical empire in an attempt to free the world from the drug's grasp. Following a reflection of the numerous challenges, both good and bad, he encountered while shooting the film, Dorff was asked by outlet's Nick Shager if it's difficult to find a mainstream projects that are interesting and challenging as something like Divinity. To which the actor replied, I mean, mainstream movies, the few movies that are coming out in theaters that are doing well, like Avatar and Top Gun, I don't even know what it is or what it all is. It's all stupid to me. I think film festivals are in a way kind of silly, with the exception of it brings filmmakers and people together and gets the audience to see your movie, and you can launch it and sell it there. Dorff opined, but in general, most of the movies are selling to streamers anyway, so it's not really about cinema. I think Divinity should be bought by the majors. If the majors were smart, if DC or any of the companies were doing cool things, they would like for the next Divinity director Eddie Alcazar, because that's the future, he further declared, adding with a laugh, not making Black Adam and worthless garbage over and over again. Later, speaking to the same sentiment, following an inquiry by Shager as to what if any other genres besides comedy that you'd like to try or revisit, Dorff declared that he would give comic book movies another shot, if not for the fact that their quality had spiked, regardless of the product or production studio in recent years. My life is pretty weird, but look, I love all kinds of movies, said the actor. If comic book movies were more like when I started, when we made Blade, for the few that have been decent over the years, like when Nolan did The Dark Knight and reinvented Batman and Tim Burton, who's obviously a genius, when they were interesting. He's really going at it, folks. He's really freaking basically saying that modern superhero movies are not as good as the top tier takes. Like when Norrington did Blade and Guillermo del Toro was fucking around in it, he continued, but all of this other garbage is just embarrassing, you know what I mean? I mean, God bless them, they're making a bunch of money, but their movies suck. And that's what I've been saying, folks. Sure, you got $1 billion movies like Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame, but they're not good. Yeah, they're entertaining, sure, to the general moviegoer, but they're not good objectively. They have a lot of problems in them. But people don't want to hear that. And nobody's going to remember them. Nobody's remembering Black Adam at the end of the day. I didn't even see that movie. It looked so bad. Referring to his noted and vocal history of criticisms against the current state of superhero cinema, Dorff then humorously added, "Marvel is used to me trashing them anyway. How's that PG Blade movie going for you? They can't get a director?" Because anybody who goes there is going to get laughed at by everyone because we already did it and we made it best. And you know what? I fully agree with that. The first Blade movie, top tier. It's one of the top tier movies Marvel ever made. And yes, I dare say it is better than the MCU. He concluded, there's no Steve Norrington, the director of Blade, out there. So, yeah. As of writing, the Daywalker's Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently slated to rise into theaters sometime in 2023. So, sometime this year as of the recording of this video. However, at the same time, the latest whispers suggest that, as mentioned by Dorff, the entire project is in shambles, to say nothing of its awful rumored script. So, yes, from what I heard, the original script that they had for the MCU Blade was going to be basically killed off, and his daughter was going to take the reins. I mean, what is it with all this crap that's been going on in theaters? Or, not just theaters, or comic books, rather, I'm sorry. They're killing off all the male characters, and they're making female versions of them that are bigger and better and all that stuff. And they gotta be bigger and better because men or strong male characters are a taboo, it seems, in modern day comics. Honestly, I think that's kind of tragic, really, because men and women deserve equal treatment. Sure, but men are men, women are women. You shouldn't have to make women more like men in order for them to be good. They can get by on their own merit, you know? Anyway, I like what Steven Dorff said. I agree with him. Marvel, or their movies, are starting to suck. I have no interest in Phase 4. I've watched a few of them. Doctor Strange 2, No Way Home in them, and Black Widow, but they're not that good. They suck. And everybody's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I was entertained. Good for you. If you're entertained by it, by poor quality content, then be entertained. But honestly, I have higher expectations when it comes to great movies. Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 were great. The Infinity Saga, with the exception of its last 2 films, were great. However, the other movies, not so much. I'm sorry, folks. I believe in being honest with folks. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for you just because, my feelings. The MCU, after Avengers Infinity War, sucked. It just did. Their movies went downhill fast. And that's because they started going in a direction where they cared more about sexual identity and gender more than the story. And that's why their movies suffered. Because they sacrificed good writing on that crap. Anyway, that's going to be the video. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. What do you think of Steven Dorff's comments where he blasted modern comic book films? Do you agree? Or do you think that the films are good and that they're not crap? Different opinions are allowed here, folks, so feel free to share them. Anyway, this has been Orange Hat Reviews. Have a wonderful day. And always remember, stay humble.